whole thing about, I'm going to just keep going because
Yeah.
we're just in the flow here.
Sure enough.
Ideascale, that's the whole idea of them, you know, and Project Catalyst using Ideascale is, okay, you ideate, you connect, you add comments, but it's gotten so big that the impact isn't happening. So we take it down like into a mini circle or mini community, and we duplicate what they're actually trying to do.
Yeah, and there's really no incentive for somebody to go in and read proposals and give feedback unless you're really interested and want to do that. But if you're going through a PBL course, it's your homework. And
yeah, well, I did it. I did it to begin with because I was new to it. Now I don't have time. And I miss that, going back and doing those full-on 4-hour comments per proposal for feedback.
As we age or we mature into Ideascale, we sort of miss those beginning things. And that was really what I fell in love with. It's just like really doing the deep dives in it. But I don't have 4 hours to do a thing. I've got other stuff. I love this idea of matching up what the C4C does with the Ideascale in a more intimate, you know, like these are your friends. It's just like, you know, your homework is with your cohort. It's just like, Lawrence and Christopher and the people that have come in now, and they're like, oh, how are we figuring out? It's like, oh, I know what I can do. I can go and take a PBL course on whatever the next phase is, and then they get it. It's reinforces the idea of this process of Ideascale. Nori, you were talking about, I'm very excited about the about how this PBL course might go. Could you fold back and sort of tell us more about that?
Yeah, if we do PBL, the project would be each phase of Catalyst. So in the first one maybe would be the proposal writing PBL. And then we focus on how to write a good proposal, what goes into it. But to get feedback, the fellow students as their homework would read your proposal and then critically go through it and give you that feedback. And through that process, every student starts to learn what they need to be looking at in a proposal to make it good, and thereby get better at writing proposals themselves. And then in the next phase, we go into, say, the PA stuff, how to be a good PA, how to critically look at it. But the really key one would be the IdeaFest phase, the phase where you're going to make your 2-minute pitch. We tell you how to do it right, how to create your slides. Your fellow students do the same homework, and then they critique each other and give each other help to say, hey, you did great here. This could use a little more improvement. And through that critical thinking process, get better themselves. So using the PBL to grow, and then it doesn't put a lot of pressure on the C4C core team to provide all this feedback all the time. Fellow students are doing it too. So we're kind of teaching everybody to help everybody.
And the admin, so they just sign up for the course and they can do it. I love the idea of an autonomous learner, that they gather the feedback, they make the connections. It's strengthening the connections in that DAO-y way, as instead of top down and like a little tree, it's more like a root ball or
growing up.
Yeah.
So if we can do the timelines on these things in advance, though, right? Timelines in advance of the deadlines that happen in Catalyst. Because when you're doing, so the whole idea of comments on a proposal in the ideate stage is supposed to be like what a community or a PA does in the assessments. And unfortunately, once you get to that point, you can't change your proposal. You get this feedback with no exit to be able to change until the next fund, which is, to me, doesn't work. If we can take that portion before the proposal finalization, like 1 week before it's done, then, and your proposal's submitted, and then you can get feedback from the community as well. When we put our proposals in at the last minute, you can't get community feedback, period. And that, to me, is not quite right. We're not setting a good example.
I want to bring up this point. That's an incredible part. And I think it's just, we're just in our role as people that have been to the dance and we've seen this movie.
We've learned a few steps.
Yeah, we learned a few steps, and now we can sort of
we know how to boogie.
Yeah, where you can do this and where you can do this shuffle. We got all the little steps. I think that if we can time shift, we can say, look, in the beginning, immediately get your proposal written and immediately get feedback in the format of the PA, like impact, feasibility, auditability.
Perfected.
No.
The proposal
no.
just needs to be an outline.
Yeah.
Just a bare, sketchy outline, because
the literal
you fill in
catalyst.
too many details, you got a lot of undoing or a lot of.
That's right. That's right. It has to stay in that Fibonacci
it becomes
1 or
a
2.
bigger rut. The more details you have, the more times you've driven over that idea, the bigger the rut and the harder to get out of.
As environmental systems thinkers, like, we understand that, because it's just we're digging out of the mindset of nature as a resource. Just nature as a resource has put us into a mindset, and you can't wait. It's hard to get out of it. So it was actually attributed to a pope. I love that this is recorded. It's actually attributed to a pope in like the 1300s or something. He's like, be careful of what you put into people's minds. The Pope said this: be careful what you put into people's minds. It's very difficult to get it out. It's very difficult to get out. So yeah, don't
leave
make
an outline.
Yeah, don't make a giant castle that you're just gonna have to tear apart again. But I love the iterative process of, especially in community, especially if you have a cohort of friends. It's like, oh no, Nori's giving me this feedback, Melanie's giving me this, Dimitri's giving me this feedback. It just goes in a better place than random people on the it's just like, yeah. Although I've not had, there were some arguments on proposals when I first started, like 5 or 6, fun 5 or 6, but I don't see that so much anymore. Like, I was like, man, a proposer came in and somebody gave him some feedback and he just wanted to argue with them. So that could be a training. It's like how to give feedback.
Yeah, and that can be personalities too, though, and you have to let that go.
Yeah, totally.
If somebody's bound and determined to do it one way, they need to follow. They need to follow their heart on that one. And whether it goes or not, maybe,
Yeah, and you said it, and this is your spot to me. It is a heart thing. And if you are stressed, the heart just closes down. It's just like, I'll come back when you're not stressed. I'm not coming. I'm not bringing my heart. It's just, I got to get this done. And that's when discussion falls down. We talked about that earlier before the recording. I wanted to bring that up.
Thank you. I'm just thinking Nori's going on holiday for 1 month. And it's like, oh my God, you just gave us like this serious amount of homework, like the PBL, the courses, the education, the planning this out.
And we'll do it on 10. So we have a bit of time to think it through.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And what you were saying about the ruts, I think it would be great to lean into the ideation phase. We don't use that well enough. No. And maybe we have an ideation PBL so that we start with those ideas, put them in as a cohort, talk about it, give feedback, but also put it out to the community. And at the end of that, we start ramping up our proposal writing PBL to end right about the beginning of the proposal thing. So day 1, when it opens, we have our fully fleshed proposals. You can drop it in early and get the real feedback from the community while there's still 2 weeks to have that conversation.
And this segues exactly into regeneration, the opportunity, the challenge that we've put in. I put in at the last minute. 8 hours to go, though. I felt better than, being in that swampy time, but it's been something I've been thinking about for a long time. If we could include this education component about it, we could actually, because it's a $250,000 fund, we could have an education piece like this that helps people coordinate, collaborate on their proposals, do what Ideascale is missing right now. We shrink down the scale to what really matters to people. We connect people with value and we get that down because it's scaled so fast. I think maybe that's the problem. It scaled so fast, it turned into chaos instead of taking starting like we did in the Gimbal tokenomics. We started to scale up to, okay, we're going to send out all these through tasks and roles And then it's like, oh, hang on a second, we got to zoom back into what matters to people. And that, to me, the heart of things is where you make a difference. So anyways, this challenge could have an education piece. It's meant to be a model of collaboration instead of a challenge with competition over funds. The balance of it, all proposals come to a consent on the budget, and it comes in within budget or below. So there's nobody gets left out. So it's a collaboration.
This is that sounds wonderful. I'll read it.
It's new to use,
Yeah,
right?
it's totally
So,
new.
but it's something Yorm looked over, he thought it was great, added one more thing. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to run with it. I had a panic attack. It's like, oh my God, I'm making people show up at weekly meetings for this challenge and all sorts of other things. And I thought, what the heck? Fund 6, Climate Change the Challenge was one of those crazy ideas with a panic attack in the middle of the night. And here we are. So, and that's why I said also to Simon too, and that pushback, maybe not everybody agrees with what you're doing. If it's in your heart, you have to do it because you don't know what it's going to turn into. So I feel relieved that I've got it out there, and maybe we can work within this idea. So if people haven't got their proposals in, they've got their ideas. The idea is to, instead of 20 different individual proposals doing DAOs, tokenomics, NFTs, we all work together and go, okay, this is, somebody's going to focus on NFTs. This is the proposal on NFTs. This is the proposal on the tokenomics. This is the proposal on the governance system, within this whole challenge. But it's all related to impact and regeneration.
This may be not like great video. Thank you, because that's a good description in the timestamp of the video. That is, the regeneration, the opportunity that goes in your 2-minute proposal
there we are.
showcase. Yeah. I just had an idea of like the time, like the timeness. The idea phase, it's actually the Fibonacci in reverse. Like that idea phase needs to be long. You need to ideate totally comfortable, like just have all the time in the world, the exponential
and then you're
curve.
Done at the very end.
And then it squishes down. Right now, it's just, it's a march. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, 1 week, 2 weeks, and it doesn't foster that like collaboration. I think that's an important part. I think, that's the first really good critique of the Ideascale. Like what exactly went wrong? It scaled too fast. It's not shifting to sort of like change itself. Yeah.
But imagine if we had this challenge set up, we were funded. So we come in, we've got 4 months, basically from the beginning to the end. The beginning of it, we go, okay, we decide what categories or how we're going to divvy up our money. Education's going to X number, admin's going to get X amount. The project we're focusing on, the use cases, gets X number of dollars. This we decide as a group, and then we put those challenges in within our proposals within our challenge. They're getting funded because we have the funds, right? And then we have that time to go, okay, here's the link tree, or this is where you're going to find information, how we're developing this over the 4 months. But the thing is, we're starting it already. We're starting it before. We're starting this now 4 months, 3 months in advance of Fund 10. So we've already got work being done before this challenge comes in. Then we've got another 4 months before voting happens. These proposals will get voted in because if this challenge is funded, they have the money. If it isn't, we do this again, and we keep reiterating until we get this shit figured out. And if we say for some reason we don't get funded in Fund 10, these proposals will be ready to go into other challenges. if they're in our own challenge, they get funded automatically like that. If they don't, they're ready to go into another fund or into another challenge.
Yeah. It's a the work does not get lost. The effort is collected.
And again, it's the building and the building and the building.
Yeah.
Because the biggest frustration that I have with Ideascale is everybody's doing their own thing. Everybody's disconnected. We're reinventing the wheel over and over and over again and not sharing resources. We're competing. And then in order to do make all those wheels, you need money. So we compete for that money and we end up with these tiny little wheels that are going instead of the really big one that does some huge impact.
People on YouTube, hit the J key on your keyboard 3 times, rewind and listen to what Melanie just said.
Oh.
I'm telling you, that is exactly the issue that I see. That for whatever reason, for whatever stated collaborative goal, the structure is putting us in competition. We're fracturing the effort, we're fracturing the value, and we're making these teeny little things when we could be building a giant flywheel. Now, I will say this, that if we zoom out, then the flywheel is generated and we are sort of moving, but it's this kind of thing where it really could be with some big picture thinking. And because I think we all want to collaborate, but you run into weird things like so many beautiful collaborations, everybody asking, oh, please put your name on this, help me with that. And I love it because I am collaborative by nature, but then I'm like, I'm exhausted. I can't do it. I have to say no, which is good, which is great. I love that part of it. But wouldn't it be great if we could all just sort of like, oh no, here I can really make my effort go as far as it can. I want to see that. I want to see how far my effort in the little fish kind of way, like my effort
Exactly.
with the colony effort, like how far that goes. I want to see that. Like I'm upset that I have to like go and scramble and I'm like, I'm not in my colony. Where's my colony? I do feel that. And I'm not saying it's not all bad. It's not all bad, but there is that feeling of like, oh, we all kind of fractured at the, like, let's.
Well, we're trying to do all the things instead of allowing other people, other groups to be able to do that. And when we have those connections, when you mentioned Little Fish, for example, it's like, wow, what a relief, that Jem and Uzgar and Shakan in Little Fish, they continue, Sebastian, they're continuing to build out this amazing system. Wow. Yeah. And that's part of this big wheel that we're working on that makes it easy. If I had to sit back and go, okay, how can I figure out how to, it doesn't work. I don't have that. I have this other gift that I have to add to the community, not dealing with that. The fact that Nori's gone ahead and done the Dework, the bounties, huge relief. I don't have to worry about how to balance things between me and somebody else in the future. I know it's really important to me, but because we have a community member that I'm connected to, we can get this done. So
yeah. The connections are there. I think that we've got the building blocks, and we've highlighted I did not see the problem when I started this meeting. I did not see the problem in that way. And the visions that we've gone through today definitely are. I love the idea of thinking in terms of courses, and the education component comes very natural to me.
Courses and collaboration.
Yeah.
And this, Scott Poynton again, climate change is a failure in cooperation. We're fighting for limited resources. This is the problem. This is what we need to undo, and we need to reverse it. We need to cooperate and
get out of the rut of competition. Yeah.
Fighting for limited resources is what caused climate change.
Exactly. Well, if you look at clear cutting right now, the deadline now is 2050, no more clear cuts, or 2030 or something. It's like, there's a lot of damage being done in the next 8 years because there's a deadline.
Yeah.
And there's this scramble for those limited resources. And yeah, so the competition part is when we got downvoted in Fund 7. Yeah, you know, I realized that's what it is. There's this fear of limited resources. So we better dump on somebody else in order to keep it to ourselves to compete. So we'll see what happens.
And I will be speaker for the dead. I am one that goes back and buries the dead. I can't follow Jesus that to the letter, but there is something great about competition, but it has to be in the framework of like, I'm taken care of. Like one of my foundational things here, I'll get vulnerable because it's the time. One of the foundational things and one of the things that really shifted in my life is when I would fight with my brother and sister, and I was like, oh yeah, we fight and play and stuff. And they really wanted to kill me. And they said it. They were like, we're trying to kill you. And I was just like, wait a minute, is that really true? And I'm still dealing with that right now. Like, I don't want to be killed. I want to compete with you. I want to fight. I want to, I want to prove myself, see how far I can go. And I want to push you. How far can you go? Like, and then that meeting, actually another Jesus thing of the meeting the woman at the well, like we pay into it. Well, who do you say I am? It's just like, all right, who are you? Who are you to me? And that crescendo, that emergence, something beautiful happens. But when that emergence like gets undercut and it's just like, no, I actually want to take out your legs or play unfair or just change the scoreboard, there's all this sort of thing in it.
That's the extremes.
Yeah, I don't know. And this is maybe off the topic of Dework and PBL and stuff like that.
I think it relates. We're talking about in Reinventing Organizations, the book club, about one of the teal principles is totally founded on taming the ego and looking beyond yourself. And competition without ego can be this magic thing where you're encouraging people around you to be better and do better. And it's not about you winning. It's about everybody doing their best and growing and unfolding. And that's why you have competition. Not
healthy competition.
Yeah, there's healthy.
It's not about the ego. It's about the community. It's about making everything better.
Oh, good. I'm glad that we. I'm glad we got that in there.
The scale too, right? The extremes. There's the extremes of murder and drugs and all that, and then there's the other extreme where passive, do nothing, and somewhere in the middle is the norm, hopefully, where we are trying to do better. But if I'm going to be threatened physically or I'm going to protect myself. Hopefully we don't have to deal with that in our community. Just take down our egos without also realizing in our community we don't have to be so passive, right? That like everybody thinks like we do and cares about the environment. That's not true. So.
Well, that's beautiful.
It's 9/11 on my time.
Let's wrap up. Any summary things?
So we're doing an education course. I am encouraged with this challenge to keep working on it, and if we can figure out some sort of a timeline for C4C where we're bumping up the preparation for our community in advance, the deadlines are changed so that all of a sudden that pressure on Ideascale platform doesn't happen because the whole Cardano for Climate community got their stuff done. We're working on ideas for presentation. Part of our PBL is going to be SDGs. How do you fill them out? What are they? That's a really good component too for an education or an event. Like I'm not real excited about UN stuff because it's centralized and there's issues, it's not transparent, blah, blah, blah. But like Dan said, these SDGs are a way to show what you've done and they figured it out. They've spent the money. Let's use it in that sense. So, you know, some sort of a component, maybe even part of one of our events is understanding the SDGs and where they are, how we can connect with other companies or platforms that are already doing impact, help bring them over onto the Cardano blockchain. What else, Nori? What else have I missed? Or Newman?
IdeaFest, how to do presentations, getting feedback from fellow students. And then really excited there, we have a proposal in the dRep category for Fund 9 to do dRepping as Cardano for Climate as a group. And maybe we do that as a PBL where students come through, learn about what dRep's about, how to do it, and then we start picking proposals. And as homework, we kind of go through and analyze them, learn what it means to look at proposals critically, and then come up with a pick list for the community. And then we submit those votes publicly based on the results of our course. And then people know how to be a dRep at the end of that. So that's kind of one of the key things is UDA wants there to be lots of dReps and have a diverse community of people participating. And sometimes it's easier to do it as a group the first time and then learn how to do it. And then you're prepared. So that's a really exciting kind of PBL that I would love to see us work on as well.
Excellent. Yep. I was going to ask you about the dRep proposal, and that can be something to, and that is in that. So is all of that in that sort of proposal?
Yes.
Okay.
Not the PBL part, that just came out because we're talking PBL, and what a great format. So August, I think, is going to be our PBL month. We James is working through July to get his Plutus PBL done. But after that, we're going to be really focusing on the different tokenomics groups and their PBL materials as we come out of it. So
Beautiful.
I think C4C has a really great, not a solid roadmap yet, but a great vision for what we want to do through August and September in that space.
Okay.
There's in that PBL too, just to back up, you know, I'm really looking forward to that, to have modules like on regeneration, what is it? And allow a place for students to come in and improve the course so that it becomes evolving instead of this dry encyclopedia of information that never changes. The whole idea behind these courses should be that you start with something like that outline and that the information continually regenerates.
Yes, I love that of PBL. And James's model, the fourth phase is governance. So once you get through the course and the basic background knowledge and the specialization areas, the last area is governance, and the students have enough knowledge now to take that next iteration of what the course will look like.
And are you actually going to take a month off of work, Nori? How are you actually going to do that?
It's not purely a month off. I'm going to be reading, writing, reflecting. My internet will likely be spotty, but I'll be checking in and saying hi. But yeah, don't expect me to leave. I don't know if I can commit to that. So
yeah.
No, that's great. I was just thinking about all this stuff to do and all these great plans that we have, but thankfully we have a community. People will pick up on these different pieces because again, one person trying to do this magnificent vision and idea, what we see into the future, not going to happen.
Well, the folks, there is somebody right now listening, watching this YouTube video, and they're like, man, that's a great vision.
If Yorman was here, he'd be doing this. It's you.
You are. And they recognize this magnificent vision. I think, yeah, that's a great magnificent vision. And I think that we have, and we are building out a vision. I think that's one of the things that I expect from leadership and that I want to give as a leader. And I think that what we've talked about really does set out a vision, you know, that we aren't frustrated with Ideascale, that we do make impactful changes that recognize the big picture. Those are the things that I think are really good. One of the big pictures that I'll summarize that we talked about earlier is the ImpactFest and the form and collecting all of the proposals, and that we want to simplify that, make the first steps as easy as possible, and then move into, you know, sort of as they get onboarded, just like in the game, the first one, you got it.
On my to-do list.
Nice, nice.
Great feedback on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're done.
Yeah.
Or we could keep going, but
No.
I think it just feels
I've
like
got
the
it.
right time to just say, okay, this is it.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
got it.
Good.
I've got it. And I
We
will.
never did get to the dRep or the Dework example, but I'll catch a free moment. I'll just make a quick Loom video to say, here's how do you create a task. Here are the things to pay attention to. It's pretty simple.
Excellent.
So then if you could put that into the Telegram chat, we'll pin it to the Telegram chat and have access. We can share it with the Telegram group
I'll drop
and
it
add
into
it to Discord.
the Bounty Discord channel as well, because there's a chat place there.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Thank you guys. This has been inspirational as usual. I got to go change my water.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Arrivederci.